Have you ever felt like you're fighting against the entire world, when in reality the real battle is happening inside your own head? Miyamoto Musashi, the legendary Japanese samurai, won over 60 duels without ever being defeated. But his greatest triumph wasn't with the sword, it was over himself. Days before dying, isolated in a cave, he wrote the Dokkodo, a manuscript containing 21 brutally honest principles about how to live unshakably. They weren't empty philosophical advice. They were mental weapons forged through decades of extreme discipline. The painful truth is this: most people waste their energy trying to control things that are beyond their reach, other people's opinions, the past, the uncertain future. Meanwhile, they neglect the only battle that truly matters: mastery over one's own mind. Have you been through this? That feeling of being trapped in destructive patterns, sabotaging your own chances for growth. Musashi discovered something that few understand. When you stop fighting against the world and start disciplining your thoughts, fears, and impulses, everything changes. Your external enemies lose power. Your internal weaknesses transform into strengths. Today, you're going to learn 7 of the most powerful principles from the Dokkodo, but not as pretty philosophy framed on the wall. I'm going to show you how to apply each one as true psychological tools to become mentally unbreakable. Stay with me until the end, because what you're going to discover here could be the turning point between continuing to sabotage yourself or finally taking real control of your life. If you feel that your own mind is sometimes your greatest enemy, this video was made exactly for you. The first principle will challenge you right away. But before we get into Musashi's first principle, I need to ask you a sincere question, and I want you to answer in the comments now. What is the self-sabotage that paralyzes you the most? The fear of failing or the fear of being judged? It may seem simple, but when you put it into words, something powerful happens. You take the monster out of the darkness and bring it into the light. And did you know that every time you leave a comment like this, you're helping spread the teachings of Japanese philosophy to more people? YouTube shows this video to those who really need it when it notices there's a living community here. So comment below and be part of an exclusive community focused on transforming lives through ancient wisdom. And since we're talking about community, if you've made it this far and still haven't liked this video, do it now. Seriously. It seems like a small thing, but when you like it, you're telling YouTube, this content is valuable. Show it to more people who are stuck and need this. It's literally free and takes half a second. Your like is the difference between this video reaching 500 or 50,000 people who can change their lives today. And before we continue, check something. Quick, are you already subscribed to the channel? Because the next videos I'm going to release are part of a complete series to forge discipline, build a strong mindset, and prepare you to enter 2026 at another level. It's not just random content, it's a structured path. If you don't subscribe, you'll miss the sequence, so click down there now. Now yes, let's get to what matters. The first principle of Dokkodo goes straight for the jugular. Principle 1. Don't oppose what you can't control. You know what's the mental trap that drains the most energy from your life without you realizing it? It's the constant fight against things you'll never be able to change. The chaotic traffic, that person's attitude, the mistake you made 3 years ago that still gnaws at your mind every dawn. Miyamoto Musashi knew something that most people take a lifetime to understand. Energy is a warrior's most valuable resource, and wasting it fighting the inevitable is the fastest path to defeat. Japanese philosophy has a powerful concept behind this. It's not about being passive or conformist. It's about strategic acceptance. When Musashi faced a physically stronger opponent, he didn't waste strength trying to beat him at his game. He accepted the reality of the situation and adjusted his strategy. While the opponent tired himself out, Musashi conserved energy and attacked at the right moment. This is the brutal difference between reacting emotionally and responding with intelligence. Think with me. How many hours of your week have you lost complaining about things that won't change, arguing with people who will never understand you, ruminating on situations that have already happened and are completely out of your control? Every minute spent on this is a minute stolen from your real transformation, and the question that changes everything is simple. Does this depend on me now? If the answer is no, accept it and focus on the next move. It's not coldness, it's maturity, it's self-control. Weak men complain about the world, Warriors adapt, and this principle will free you from an invisible prison you didn't even know you were living in. Now I want to go even deeper into this subject, because the next principle exposes an even more uncomfortable truth about the search for external validation. Comment there. I only control what depends on me. Principle 2. Don't seek pleasure for pleasure's sake. Here's a truth no one wants to hear. You're addicted to instant pleasure, and it's destroying your ability to build anything meaningful. I'm not talking about obvious addictions. I'm talking about that endless scroll on your phone, the series you watch to relax. But it's really just an escape. That food you order, not because you're hungry, but because your brain is asking for a quick dose of dopamine. Miyamoto Musashi warned about this centuries ago. Constant pleasure weakens a warrior's mind. Japanese philosophy understands something profound about emotional discipline. When you train your brain to seek pleasure all the time, you lose the ability to do what needs to be done when you're not motivated. And here's the fatal blow. Everything worthwhile in life requires you to act exactly at the moments when you don't feel like it at all. That workout when you're tired, that project when you're uninspired, that difficult conversation when you just want to avoid it. Musashi lived isolated in mountains, training under extreme conditions, because he knew that excessive comfort was the fastest path to mediocrity. He used pleasure as a reward after discipline, never as an escape before effort. The difference seems subtle, but it's devastating. One strengthens your will. The other transforms you into a slave of your impulses. Think about your routine now. How many times do you choose easy pleasure instead of necessary action? How many times do you postpone what really matters because you're not in the mood? If you only act when you're motivated, you'll never be free. You'll spend your whole life waiting for the perfect moment that never comes. Real transformation happens when you act despite internal resistance, not because of some magical inspiration. And here's the cruel paradox. The more you seek pleasure for pleasure's sake, the less true pleasure you feel. Your brain needs increasingly larger doses to feel anything. It's a chemical and psychological trap. Now I want to go even deeper into this subject, because the next principle reveals why so many people live trapped in relationships and situations that destroy their inner peace. Comment there. Discipline is freedom. And since we're talking about discipline and real transformation, I prepared complementary material for those who really took seriously what we talked about so far. It's the path of Japanese discipline. This ancestral method was created precisely to transform your common mind into a disciplined, focused, and unshakable mind, capable of acting every day even when motivation fails, even when tiredness weighs, and even when no one is watching. It's not about fleeting enthusiasm or that Monday motivation that dies on Wednesday. It's about developing the mental power that sustains permanent results. The material teaches how to truly eliminate procrastination, master unstable emotions, and build that silent consistency that shapes true winners. There are already over 1 million copies that have helped people worldwide. Be part of this transformation too. If it makes sense to you, take a look at the material I left here below in the description. This content can be taken down at any time, so if it's useful to you, take advantage while it's still available. This material is complementary to what we talked about here and can save you a lot of time in practice, accelerating your journey brutally. Now, returning to Musashi's principles, the next one will touch on something you may have never noticed: how you're emotionally imprisoning yourself in things and people that prevent you from evolving. Principle 3. Don't depend on external desires. In the Dokkodo, Musashi wrote, "Don't seek pleasure for yourself." But he went further. He also warned, don't become attached to what comes from outside. And here's a brutal truth that will hurt many people. The more you need something external to feel complete, the weaker you become. Others' approval, recognition at work, attention on social media, quick results that validate your effort. Every time you place your inner peace in the hands of something you don't control, you give away your power. Japanese philosophy teaches something radical about emotional independence. Musashi didn't fight to impress anyone. He trained alone in the mountains, perfected his technique in absolute silence, faced his internal demons without an audience. No one was there to applaud, no one posted about him. And it was exactly because of this that he became unbeatable. Because his strength didn't depend on external validation. It came from within. Now think about your life. How many decisions do you make thinking about others' reactions? How many times do you fail to do what's right because no one will see, no one will know, no one will give you credit? How many times do you give up because results didn't come fast enough for you to show someone? This isn't strategy. It's emotional begging. The samurai doesn't beg for validation. He acts with integrity even when he's alone. He trains constancy in silence because he knows that true transformation happens away from the spotlight. When you stop depending on external desires, something powerful happens. You become unstoppable. Criticism doesn't bring you down. Praise doesn't inflate you. You simply follow the path because it's the right path, not because someone is watching. This is a warrior's identity. This is the mentality that separates those who build something real from those who just perform for social media. Now I want to go even deeper into this subject because the next principle exposes an even more dangerous emotional trap. Regret. Comment there. My strength comes from within. Principle 4. Have few possessions and many skills. Musashi wrote in the Dokkodo, "Don't collect weapons or practice with weapons you cannot use." Translating to your life now, stop accumulating. Stop collecting courses you don't take, books you don't read, plans you don't execute, objects you don't use. Because here's the hidden truth no one tells you. Accumulation generates attachment, and attachment generates fear. Fear of losing, fear of letting go, fear of simplifying. And the more fear you carry, the slower you walk. Japanese philosophy has always preached strategic minimalism, not for aesthetics but for mental efficiency. Musashi traveled alone, carrying only his 2 swords and the essentials to survive. Nothing excessive, no unnecessary weight, because he understood something brutal. The less you carry, the faster you advance. Every distraction you add to your life is a brake on your evolution. Every unnecessary commitment is energy diverted from what really matters. Look at your routine now. How many things have you accumulated that distract you instead of strengthening you? How many goals are you pursuing at the same time without truly mastering any? How many objects, apps, tasks, and worries are occupying precious mental space that should be focused on developing real skills? Transformation doesn't come from having more. It comes from mastering better the little you chose to carry. Simplify your routine, cut the excess. Focus on few goals, but execute them with mastery. Invest in mental skills that no one can take from you. Discipline, focus, emotional resilience, strategic thinking. These are the only possessions truly worth it, because when everything collapses around you, and at some point it will, your internal skills are the only thing that keeps you standing. Now I want to go even deeper into this subject, because the next principle goes straight to the heart of something that paralyzes millions of people, the desperate need for comfort. Comment there. Fewer things, more clarity. Principle 5. Don't cling to the past. In the Dokkodo, Musashi was direct. Don't regret what you did. And before you misinterpret, he's not saying to act without conscience. He's saying something much deeper. Guilt and regret imprison more than chains. You can be physically free but mentally chained to decisions you made years ago, mistakes you committed, words you said, opportunities you lost. And while you remain trapped in this invisible prison, life keeps passing. Time doesn't wait for anyone to process the past eternally. Japanese philosophy understands something brutal about mental freedom. Every man carries mistakes. Musashi killed his first opponent at age 13. He lived a life of violence, solitude, and difficult choices. But the difference between him and most people wasn't the absence of regret. It was the conscious decision not to let the past govern the present. He extracted the lesson, cut the emotional drama, and returned to the only moment that truly exists. Now, think about the amount of mental energy you waste every day revisiting things that have already happened. That fight from months ago, that relationship that ended, that opportunity you let slip away, that mistake you made and still punish yourself for. Every time you go back there, you're stealing energy from your future to feed ghosts of the past. And here's the revelation few understand. The past is a teacher, not a prison. You extract the learning and move forward, or you keep ruminating and become a slave to something you'll never be able to change again. Real transformation happens when you decide to forgive yourself. Not superficially, but deeply. When you understand that that version of you did the best they could with what they knew at that moment. And now you know more. Now you're capable of more, but only if you let go of the weight. Now I want to go even deeper into this subject because the next principle reveals the final trap that keeps most people stuck in mediocrity. The desperate search for certainty. Comment there. I learn from the past. I don't live in it. Principle 6. Don't let emotions make decisions. Musashi wrote in the Dokkodo, never deviate from the way. And what does this mean in practice? It means that strong emotion generates short vision. When you're dominated by anger, anxiety, fear, or even euphoria, you're not seeing reality. You're seeing a distorted version of it, filtered by the emotional state of the moment. And decisions made in this state almost always lead to regret. How many times have you sent that message in anger and regretted it 5 minutes later? How many times have you given up on something important because fear screamed louder than reason? Japanese philosophy teaches something powerful about conscious coldness. It's not about becoming a cold person or without emotions. It's about creating a space between stimulus and response. Something happens. You feel the emotion arise, but instead of reacting instantly, you breathe, you observe, you wait for the emotional peak to pass, and only then do you decide. Musashi faced life or death duels. If he allowed fear or anger to guide his actions, he would have been dead in the first combat. He won because he controlled his emotions, not because he didn't feel them. Think about the worst decisions you've made in life. I bet most of them were made under intense emotional impact. You were angry and said what you shouldn't. You were anxious and accepted something you didn't want. You were afraid and gave up before time. You were euphoric and committed to something you didn't have the structure to sustain. Each of these decisions shaped your journey negatively, all because you let the emotion of the moment hijack your clarity. Transformation happens when you understand that emotions are information, not commands. They tell you what you're feeling, but not what you should do. Whoever masters emotion masters destiny. When you learn to decide calmly, even in the midst of chaos, you become unstoppable. Now I want to go even deeper into this subject because the last principle I'm going to share today is perhaps the most radical of all: total acceptance of one's own mortality. Comment there. I decide with my mind, not with emotion. Principle 7. Accept death as part of the path. In the Dokkodo, Musashi wrote something most people avoid thinking about. Don't fear death. But he wasn't being morbid or pessimistic. He was giving you the key to living intensely. Because here's the truth no one wants to face. You're going to die. I'm going to die. Everyone you love is going to die. And while you keep pretending you have infinite time, wasting entire days on autopilot, postponing dreams, accumulating excuses, life is slipping through your fingers. Japanese philosophy has always treated death not as a taboo, but as the great teacher. Samurais practiced daily meditation on their own death precisely to create existential urgency. Not to live in fear, but to live with purpose. Awareness of death generates intense life. When you truly accept that your days are numbered, you stop wasting time on things that don't matter. You stop postponing important conversations. You stop waiting for the perfect moment that never comes. Think now, if you knew you had only 1 year to live, what would change? Who would you spend your time with? What would you stop doing immediately? Which fears would you face without hesitation? And here's the brutal impact of this reflection. You don't know how much time you have. No one knows. You could have 50 years ahead or 50 days. And while you don't face this reality, you live as if you had guarantees, as if you could postpone indefinitely, as if tomorrow was certain. Musashi treated each day as his final training. Every movement mattered. Every decision had weight. He didn't live in desperate haste, but in total presence. That's the difference. Those who remember death stop wasting life, stop living on autopilot, stop trading the meaningful for the convenient. When you accept death as part of the path, you finally start to truly live. Now I want to go even deeper into this subject because there's a powerful practical application that connects all these 7 principles into a concrete method of daily transformation. Comment there. Every day is my final training. Mank, the path of the unshakable. Now that you know these 7 principles, you need to understand something fundamental. The Dokkodo is not motivation. It's not that pretty speech that pumps you up for 3 days and then disappears. It's a code of personal responsibility. Musashi never promised that following these principles would make you happy in the superficial sense of the word. He didn't promise likes, recognition, or applause. He promised something much more valuable and rare: internal freedom. And this freedom only exists for those who accept three things most people run from: discipline, silence, and constancy. Discipline, because nothing meaningful is built without it. You can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't have the ability to act every day, even when you don't feel like it, you're going nowhere. Silence, because true transformation happens away from the spotlight, away from external validation, in the moments when you're alone facing your internal demons without an audience. And constancy, because an isolated decision changes nothing. It's daily repetition, unwavering commitment to the path that shapes who you really are. Musashi wrote the Dokkodo at age 62, days before dying, alone in a cave. He wasn't trying to impress anyone. He was distilling decades of battles, defeats, victories, and learnings into 21 brutally honest principles. And here's the final revelation. These principles weren't created to make you comfortable. They were created to make you strong, to mentally equip you to face any storm, to transform you into someone who doesn't break when life squeezes. The question now isn't whether you understood the principles. The question is, will you apply them? Because knowledge without application is just entertainment. And if you've made it this far, you're not seeking entertainment. You're seeking real transformation. Now, I want to go even deeper into this subject because there's a practical challenge that will test whether you're truly committed to this path. Comment there. I choose the path of the unshakable. If you've made it this far, you're not like most. Most give up in the middle. Most seek shortcuts. Most want results without effort. But you stayed. You absorbed. You're here because you know that real transformation requires commitment, and you're willing to pay that price. This already puts you at a completely different level. Now, if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, this is the moment, because the next videos aren't just content, they're mental tools, applied philosophy, concrete strategies that will equip you to build a truly unshakable mentality. It's not one video here, another there, random. It's a structured path, and I'm walking it with you, step by step. And look, you know that in Miyamoto Musashi's Dokkodo book, there are 21 principles, right? What I gave you today were the first 7, only the first 7. Imagine the impact of the other 14. So tell me, do you want part 2? Comment there now. I want part 2. I need to know who's truly committed, who doesn't just consume but applies, who doesn't just watch but truly transforms. And before you leave here, do something for me. Take a look at the first pinned comment. There's a complete ebook about Japanese discipline that will deepen even more and brutally everything we talked about here. Don't let it pass, it's worth every second. Now there's a video here on the side that complements this subject in a powerful way. Click and continue with me there because the journey is just beginning.